I think the cEDH meta is in a pretty bad spot, and Fairy Mastermind is going to be the card that makes a lot of other people realize that. How's it going, everybody? I'm Matthew, this is Lemora's Cards, and today I'm going to be talking about an issue I've been having with the cEDH metagame for a while now, and how Fairy Mastermind is probably going to be highlighting how bad things have gotten. A video I was going to do, and maybe I will still do, was one talking about tournament results from last year. There were 10 major cEDH tournaments last year, either in Europe or in the Americas. And you may have seen Rebel's video where she made a tier list of decks based on this. I was interested in them and looked to see what it could tell us about colors and archetypes. There were a few things that might surprise some people. What I thought was really cool is that my ranking of the colors, blue, red, white, black, green, is exactly the placement of each color, both at the top 4 levels and at the top 16 level. That is the popularity of colors in cEDH right now. Black is its 4th, and it's pretty far behind actually, and green sucks. The thing that was most jarring to me was that roughly, depending on how you look at it, 35 to maybe 38 of the decks that made top 4 were mid-range decks. That's not healthy, I don't think. And there's got to be a reason why, right? There was very little representation of Stax and virtually no representation of Turbo whatsoever at the top 4 level. Mid-range, typically there's some things that it just does that can kind of advantage it in a tournament. Should it mean that it's over 90% of top 4 placements? Probably not. That's probably indicative of a metagame that would be driving players away from it. You know, if we're looking at a standard metagame where everyone's playing the same archetype, or modern or legacy, that's not something you want to see. So, what does this have to do with Fairy Mastermind? I think what's causing these issues and is just totally warped the game at this point is the number of game pieces that punish your opponents for playing cEDH while proactively advancing your game plan has just gotten too high, and games are just too warped around them. So what do I mean by this? Cards like Dockside Extortionist, Esper Sentinel, Rhystic Study, Mystic Lemora, Archivist of Ogma, Crom Ludovic Opus. These cards are just doing too much to just make play hostile towards you playing, almost. The main cards that are defining the game are the cards that punish your opponent for playing the game you signed up to play. I don't think it's healthy. The player incentives right now are to do as little as you can while sitting back on these engines that develop you, while your opponents take game actions and you just come out on top of every interaction. Just trying to punish them more than they are punishing you. And this is where Fairy Mastermind comes in, because it's a card, if it's good, it's because it's feeding off of this homogenized meta that we're in, where everybody's sitting back on their advantage engines, and Fairy Mastermind is going to trigger off of Rhystics and Mystics and Esper Sentinels. And so if it's good enough to see play and it's regularly drawing a lot of cards, that means these game pieces are so warping you can just punish people for punishing people for playing the game at that point. And it's just so many levels deep of just this mid-range nonsense that I don't think it's good for the game. I don't think it's fun. I don't think the incentives are there to be playing like cEDH. It's advertised as like Super Commander, and I don't think it is. If you watch some of my old content, the way I look at casual is that cEDH is Commander. It's where it would bring you. And to that same extent, I think casual cEDH and tournament cEDH you can almost sort of look at as having the same relationship, where the things that are good in tournament cEDH are kind of what real cEDH is. Like, if in an ideal world where we get the best competitors at each tournament and the best thing is always winning, that's what the format actually is trying to get you to do. So when you have a more than 90% top 4 placement rate for the same archetype, that's very heavily suggesting that you absolutely should be doing that. So yeah, I think Stax is in a pretty bad spot, especially non-Winota Stax, because he gets so punished for playing against Winota, which is pretty popular. And Winota is the only major deck, I think, that doesn't run these pieces much, other than Esper Sentinel and Archivist of Ogma. But it kind of does the same thing, where you can break parity on a Stax piece with Winota immediately, because all of your non-human pieces are their own value engines, because Winota turns them into value engines. So it's kind of its own different way of sitting back on a value engine. And of course, Winota is just probably the best value generating piece in the game. So almost every single deck that's winning is just leveraging these effects, and just the way that they win specifically is almost trivial. And it turns out Blue Farm just naturally has the most advantage in the command zone, and so it's sort of doing the best. Is this good? Is this bad? I guess it's up to you guys. To me, I think the game could really use a shakeup, and if Fairy Mastermind is as good as some people are suggesting, things are just going to get even more this way. And I don't see Turbo and Stax catching up when these are the game pieces that we're still getting. And if we get one more Esper or Ristic type effect, I think the game might actually become just too much, and I might have to just step away from it for a little bit. So yeah, let me know what you think down below. Thank you to all my patrons who support me over on Patreon. Their names are here, especially to $10 patrons, LF Cruz and Neo Venus. Y'all are lunatics, but thank you so much for your support. But yeah, let me know what you think of the cEDH metagame right now. Am I looking too much at tournament results, and should, you know, we keep casual play away from tournaments? I don't know, but with results this definitive, I think it maybe it's a little bit of both. But yeah, thank you so much for watching. Until next time.